Welcome to the Got Invention Show. I'm your host, Brian Freed, and our guest today is Mike Miranda. He is an inventor. And Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian. Happy to be here.
Mike, you're a pretty interesting guy. I had a chance to get to know you a little bit before. Why don't you tell us who you are and where you're from to start?
I'm Mike Miranda, born, raised, educated in New York City. Still live here in New York City, Brooklyn in particular. In my past, I was an educator. I'm currently a new product developer.
And you came up with a game called Get Smart, the
Yes.
Crossword card game, which we're going to get to in a few moments. But Mike, as a product developer and somebody that's creative, innovative, you've been doing this for a long time. What do you think it is that kind of sparks that interest in coming up with a new idea?
How do I come up with it?
Yeah.
I just pop into my head all the time. Or if I'm doing something or using a product, or the situation stimulates an idea. It triggers an idea in my head.
So here you are. We mentioned about Get Smart, the crossword card game. Why don't you tell us what kind of, before this idea came to life, when you first came up with the idea, how did that happen?
Well, number one is I enjoy playing the board game Scrabble. And as an educator, I saw that I reckon Scrabble is tolerated in schools, but it's never used as a teaching tool. And so I set out to convert Scrabble into a teaching tool. During the process, I learned that this was much more than a game. It was actually a teaching tool which can teach the vocabulary of any subject, academic or not.
Okay. So you had this thought of being able to advance the Scrabble type of opportunity for kids and for adults and anybody who loves playing Scrabble.
Right.
So when this thought and idea came to your mind, what did you do first?
I made a very rough, with the index cards, I made a rough prototype, a really rough prototype, just to see if it worked.
And sometimes that's the easiest way. I mean, you came up with something that, to start with, is easy to be able to make a prototype, right? You could take index cards, like you're saying, and be able to. So what did you end up doing with these index cards? You were visualizing the way that Scrabble is played and the way that this game is going to be played?
Yes, I played the game, but as I said, during the process, I saw that this is really a good teaching tool. It's a game, but it's really a good teaching tool. And it doesn't have to, as I said, doesn't have to be an academic subject.
Okay. Well, let's take a look and see the game in action so we can get an understanding of what Get Smart.
If you like Scrabble or crossword puzzles, you'll love Get Smart, the new crossword game. The more you play, the smarter you get.
It can teach the vocabulary of any subject, like Baroque music, basketball, chemistry, the Civil War, modern art, and many others. Get Smart. The more you play, the smarter you get. Players are dealt 7 cards. To win the game, players make high-scoring words in a crossword manner, like Scrabble. Each card has a letter and numerical point value on it. They're playing Get Smart Baseball, having fun and learning the language of baseball. First player makes the word balk and replenishes cards in hand from deck. Second player adds the word sinker at the K in balk. There can only be 2 complete words on the board at a time. Players can pick up or lay down letters in one direction only, up and down or left to right, like Scrabble. Sweep is replaced with fungo using the N in sinker. Balk, sinker, sweep, fungo, and many more words are in the Get Smart Baseball Dictionary included in the game. Learn the language of chemistry, law, tennis, soccer, art history, and many more with Get Smart, the crossword card game.
The more you play Get Smart, the smarter you get.
That's great. So let's talk about it, Mike. Very interesting. So you're making what? Why don't you explain it? Why don't you tell us your thoughts of and your way of explaining your game to somebody?
The elevator pitch.
Let's hear it.
Well, it can teach. Really, it can teach any subject. So whether it's in school, any grade, kindergarten right through college, but even as I show in any sport, I did a video there with baseball, but any sport, because every subject, whatever it is, whether it's legal, not for profit, any business, they have specific words that are particular to that business or industry, and which is basically the vocabulary of that business or industry. And so I as you see in the video, it can teach the language of any subject.
Okay. So Mike, you had this idea right away. You took and you made a prototype out of index cards. And what'd you do next? How did you kind of go through the steps in the process?
You know, after I proved it worked, played it with some people, etc., then I made a finished prototype to what you saw in the video. You know.
Okay. So you're still at prototype stage?
And I have a patent pending, and
Okay.
And I'm currently seeking a licensee to license and produce the product.
Okay. So Mike, as you were developing your prototype, there were some things and iterations that you had to go through to get to the point of where you are with almost a finished prototype, like you're saying. So you made your concept on index cards. What did you do after that to keep the idea moving forward?
Well, as I said, I started making with the finished prototype. I also did some research on. You can go into the patent office website and look at prior art and see, what exists. You can also visit department stores that sell a product similar, if not the exact kind of product, like a playing card. So you do some basic market research to see if it's worth spending time on developing the idea.
Okay. And and based on your research, you felt like it was a good opportunity.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And when people look at Scrabble and then they look at your game, what's the kind of, when you were saying your elevator pitch before, what exactly is it that you feel is going to make the audience really want your game?
If they want, if they work in a particular business, if they're an aspiring lawyer or an aspiring whatever, they'll buy this game and play it with people. And it's been proven academically, it's been proven that if you learn the vocabulary of a subject before you actually start learning the content of the subject, when you do start learning the content, you will learn it quicker and it will be absorbed more deeply into your psyche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at one more video here. You have a couple great demos.
Yeah.
This card game, Get
Okay.
Smart, is helping me learn the vocabulary of heredity. It is teaching me how to spell them and the definitions. Alleles are the two different types of a gene, which are dominant and recessive. If you really want to nail your academic subjects, get the word game Get Smart with its dedicated dictionary to learn the vocabulary of any subject, any grade.
Get Smart is available in any subject, any grade.
So, Mike, you've been at this for a while. You have the cards at prototype stage. So it looks like there were nice graphics and the colors and the way that you wanted to lay it out. Being an art director, how did that kind of influence the way that you are having your card game look?
Well, it saved me money because if I couldn't do that myself, I would have to hire talent to do it. So I was able to do it myself.
Okay. And the name, Get Smart, the crossword card game. So coming up with a name, What kind of experience was that? Did you have fun coming up with the name? Did you kind of go through a few different thoughts of what it should be?
Actually, it was pretty quick. It was like a no-brainer. It just it makes sense. But you play the game and you get smart. It's that simple. Because if you don't know anything about law, you play this game, you're going to learn a lot about law, at least the vocabulary of law. Yeah.
When you're working on this game and you're kind of presenting it, whether it's for a licensing deal or manufacturing it yourself, which I know you prefer not to, but there are different age groups of kids, adults. When you're thinking about who it is that you're going to pitch it to, which audience, how do you come up with which, depending on, I guess, the difficulty level of it, or is there just kind of putting it out there? Like, what's your target audience, and how did you know that it's the kids first? Because you showed a couple kids videos, but is it also for adults?
Absolutely. I think I mentioned that it goes right through college. Just think about if you're a medical student, right? You have to learn an awful lot of words, new words to you, right? And we have a game, or can create a game specific to whatever division of whatever kind of medicine you're going to go into, whether it's male, female, pediatrics, geriatrics, etc.
Okay, so just between the level and between the different categories. So how many different categories do you think you've come up with at this point?
Well, on this particular product, it's unique in that it's not limited to one field. For instance, this can be a potential licensees of this product would be education publishers, for instance, or playing card publishers, or dictionary people. Those are three different industries but speaking in education, as I mentioned, the product itself is applicable to any age group. So I could pitch it to any. I could pitch it to a lower grade school, a pre-kindergarten, college, etc. But this other product we have a video. It's also an education product, and it's specifically geared toward the student who's just beginning to learn how to read, and the first steps of acquiring literacy. And most of that audience would be young kids, but it also can be employed by adult learners of English language.
When you formulated this idea and you kind of laid it out on the index cards, you mentioned that you're patent pending. You went on, you took a look, and you kind of got yourself educated yourself to a point of protecting the idea. But how did you know what to do at that point? You came up with this idea, you wanted to protect it. So how did you end up preparing and setting yourself up for intellectual property protection?
Well, I had some brief experience, with the patent I actually received. And since that time, the patent office has come up with what do they call it? It's a provisional patent application,
Mm-hmm.
and it's inexpensive. I mean, it's not, you don't have to spend a month's salary getting a provisional patent application. What the key thing about it is that once you file that, you get patent pending status. So you have some legal protection. You can show it to people and companies, and they see it's patent pending. So if they don't want to get involved with a law case, they'll respect it.
So you filed a provisional patent application that gives you the right for 1 year to say you're patent pending while you're exploring the opportunities of possibly trying to license it like you are. And within that year, you're going to have to file a non-provisional patent application. And that's the full patent with the claims, and it's otherwise known as the utility patent. So Do you feel like this is a utility type of application, a type of game? Is it something also that you consider copywriting with the instructions? Do you have instructions with it as well?
Yes, I do. I have not copyrighted any of the instructions or the many different ways that the deck can be used to play. I'm secure with I feel comfortable with the security that the provisional patent application gives me. And if I get a real bite, then I'll apply for the copyright. And if it looks like it's going to go, it's going to go become a deal, and then of course I'll invest in, and maybe even try to get the prospective licensee to foot the bill, to finance the lawyer's bill to file the patent.
Mike, as you evolved your idea into the index cards, into kind of the way that it should look and be designed, I'm sure one of the fun parts that you had was actually to have your audience test it and get some feedback from it. What was that like? Because you wanted to test it and see how people responded to it.
Okay. Everybody that played the game, both young and old, college educated or not, enjoyed playing the game and preferred the playing card version as opposed to the board game version of Scrabble.
Okay. And what was that like? How did you set up kind of a test market? How did you survey it?
See, when you use words like test market and survey, it sounds very sophisticated. Just gather with some people. It started with family. It started with my wife and then the other family. I have adult children. I have sister and friends. I played the game with those people.
Mike, you've worked on this invention, Get Smart, the crossword card game. How long have you been working on this idea?
More than I'd like to say. Yeah, because it's been a learning experience for me. I started out knowing nothing really, and I got to the point now where I know something, where I was able to reach out to someone like you to help promote me and my products.
So, Mike, besides this idea, this product that hopefully you're going to license at some point, tell us about yourself as an inventor. You've kind of always had this creative spark. You're an art director. You're an educator. What is it that you feel has kind of driven you towards being a product developer?
Well, my first of all, I've got that. I think it's in my gene because I've had relatives that were creative, or some of them have passed away that are creative. All right, and then I said, growing up left-handed, you're challenged all the time to resolve a situation so that it works for you. But all my life experiences have brought me to the point where this is what I want to do, because I'm happiest when I'm creating. So that's this is my form of gambling, you could say, because I spend a lot of time and not as little money as I can, but you spend money, and but I'm gambling on myself and my ideas.
What about your first patent? You mentioned that you have an issued patent at this point.
Yes, it was for, and in fact, I'm revisiting it. The patent is long expired. I got as many extensions on it as I could. So a lot of time passed, and I really didn't pay much attention to it. And I felt helpless because people like you and the service that you offer were not in existence at the time that I got that patent.
And what was the patent on, Mike?
A portable toothbrush that looks like and fountains like and functions like a fountain pen. You can literally brush anywhere, anytime, even without water, because it works with a mouthwash.
And you worked on that invention. You ended up patenting it. Did you make a prototype? Did it go anywhere? What was that journey like?
A non-functioning prototype, it looks like, but doesn't really work. And when I got to the point where I was dealing with the lawyer, he said we need to illustrate the mechanics of it. So through the lawyer, I hired a mechanical illustrator that actually showed how it worked, how it functions. Line drawings, yeah, I still have them.
So, Mike, in order for you to license Get Smart, the crossword card game, what is your ambition? What are your next steps? How are other companies going to know that your card game exists and it's available for licensing? Well, you're saying that you're doing a Google search on card games, or are you finding, let's say on LinkedIn, you're finding, or you can go into retail stores, right? And you look at companies. So you mentioned you went to Hasbro, but you didn't feel comfortable with them because maybe it's too close. But maybe you go to other card companies that are similar or maybe can align with yours. And those are the type of companies that you're going to reach out to try to get a licensing deal, right?
Absolutely. And the cheapest and the easiest way is to get an idea of what companies are in the market, is to go to where they're selling similar kind of products. But I have in the past, and will continue to do so, I've hired a researcher.
It sounds to me, Mike, like you hired a freelancer on Fiverr.
Yes, right.
And you looked up their credentials and you chose somebody to do some research for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great.
But by the way, these are some of the things that I've learned now, right? I said I started out knowing nothing. Things like that, I've learned the hard way. I had no teacher. You have to learn that yourself. But companies like you, like what you're doing, you can learn an awful lot from people like you, and the exposure you get too.
It's great, Mike, to have people like yourself involved in a community and get involved with different activities that are going on, because there's people just like you in these type of situations that have come up with an idea and looking for the next steps to commercialize it, whether it's through licensing, so you can earn royalties from it and you can have a company manufacture, distribute, and you earn those royalties. Or, at the same time, you came up with something that it doesn't take much to manufacture because it's printed cards, but then you have 1,000 units or 5,000 units in your garage. Now what? How are you going to sell them? So many of the companies that you were mentioning, like Hasbro or another type of card company or toy game company, they already have manufacturing capability and distribution. So you're looking to add your product to their product line for you to earn royalties. That's your number one objective.
Yes, I don't want to get involved with manufacturing and marketing product. Of course, it's not where my interests lie.
Understood. Mike, you've been at this for a while. There are inventors that are just starting off. They just came up with an idea in their head and they're watching or listening today. Or maybe they're somewhere along the way, just like you. Or maybe they have a finished product and they're interested and they're selling and they're interested in hearing your story today, Mike. But everybody has some kind of thought or lesson that they've learned along the way. Share us some words of wisdom that we can offer to the people that are in our audience.
Well, one thing that goes through my mind a lot is the saying, winners never quit and quitters never win. Because I say that because, and go also, there's a saying about, a salesman, one of the first things a salesman learns is that you're going to get 10 or 50 or 100 no's before you get one yes. And so there's a lot of frustration in just getting to the right people and talking to them. A potential licensee. You're going to learn, and they got gatekeepers, all kinds of frustrations involved to get the product to market. But and you got to be passionate. You really do. Otherwise, it's so easy to lose hope, or to lose the motivation.
Got to keep moving forward, right, Mike?
Exactly.
Absolutely. And you as a product developer, You're continuing to come up with new ideas all the time. So you just keep your creativity going as an art director, as an inventor, as a product developer. We wish you all the best, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We'll keep in touch, and we're going to find out what kind of activity is happening with you with the Get Smart, the crossword card game. Hopefully you'll have a licensee soon, and we can buy your game, whether it's in the stores or it's for educational purposes. Hopefully you can get the distribution that you're looking for and earn royalties. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that wraps up our Got Invention show with Mike Miranda, Get Smart, the crossword card game. And if you have an invention, or you're along the way where, let's say you just came up with this idea, or maybe you're at the point where you're looking to license or manufacture, or you have a finished product, get in touch with us and share your story and journey with us on the Got Invention show. We will see you again very soon with another episode. Thank you so much, and keep moving your ideas forward.